All right, well, Sandra, it is good to have you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for letting me join this studio that you have here.
Awesome. So we are talking about God stories.
Yes.
And a God story is basically when we can look at some time in our life, a moment in our life where God has done something. He's intervened, he's touched our life, he has helped us, he's healed us, he's blessed us. And so we get to hear your story today.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I wanted to see if you could take us back to the beginning, or at the time before you had this God moment, and tell us what was going on in your life.
Okay. Well, in 2014, I had a hemorrhagic stroke. That stroke, I initially had what they called hemiparalysis, which was my left leg and my left arm were paralyzed. But with lots of really good help, support from family and friends and God, I've been able to learn to walk again and stand. My God moment really was during the time I was in the hospital. I really had a good attitude. I was still laughing and smiling and joking. It's really how I dealt with my kind of not knowing what was going to happen, how well I was going to recuperate.
Right.
But I think he gave me that ability to just kind of go with the flow. And it helped. And some of the nurses were like, "Why are you so happy?" I'm like, "It just helps me deal with my nervousness or my uncomfortableness. Like, I don't know what's going to go on." They're like, "Okay." But even better than that, the 3 months that I was in the hospital, I literally had a visitor every single day. My mom came every day. At the time I worked at a dental office. I had patients that I had only known just from making appointments and doing insurance that had come by the hospital when they found out to visit, which really touched my heart. I was really surprised. But God gave me that because he knows I'm a busybody, so I just got to talk all day long and visit with people. People brought me food, which you all know I love food.
Yeah, for sure.
And, my mom took the bus an hour each way to come see me every single day. And the nurses kind of made a joke. Who's going to come today? Who's going to visit? Like, I don't know. Awesome. Somebody. But I was really blessed. And I knew that was God. That really. But even more, what I knew how it was going to be better is because I was learning how to walk and stand. Like, I couldn't even stand. I was in a wheelchair for 7 months after my stroke.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even stand to get into the chair. I had to learn how to transfer from a bed to a wheelchair. It was really frustrating. I couldn't even shower myself. My mom had to help me for 2 years after I got home. And I can't imagine what kind of stress that was on her. But really, over time, I was just kind of watching the nurses and watching my mom, what they were doing, and kind of figured out how to do it myself. Yeah. So now I'm pretty good. Yeah. I still need help in a lot of ways, but I've gotten so much support that I've gotten to the point where I'm pretty independent. Yeah. Probably not as independent as I would like to be, but way more independent than I ever thought I could be.
So you had the stroke 2014. How old were you at that time?
I was 46.
46, okay. And can you just kind of tell us a little bit about like what happened in that moment, what you remember from that moment?
Yeah, I was at a friend's house having dinner. I had a glass of wine. I was watching TV on the couch. I stood up and I fell. Okay. I hadn't had a lot to drink, so I wasn't drunk. I kept trying to stand up and I kept falling. And my friend just said, "What's going on?" She kind of Googled my symptoms. She says, "I think you're having a stroke." She called 911. They came, they got me to UCSF like that. They got me to UCSF so fast, even when they hooked me up to the monitors, they could see my blood still coming out from the vein in my head. Oh my God. It was crazy. Like when you shoot water through a clear glass and you see that water going down, that's exactly what it looked like. It was really bizarre. But I still had my speech, obviously. I'm sure my family like, "Oh God, we wish she wouldn't talk so much." But constantly just talking and still talking. But that's how I knew God was trying to save my life. I mean, I was also doing a lot of substances that I wouldn't have stopped on my own had this not happened. So, but after I had the stroke, I thought back to a couple of situations. He really did try to give me a couple of warnings. But I just wasn't listening. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't in tune with God. But after I started going to church, I started walking and healing. I told my cousin, I'm feeling good physically and mentally, but something's missing. He said, "I want you to come to church." Okay. So I started going to Bay Church. And I would just feel good for the whole week. I didn't know what it was and what was going on. So once I started, I just never stopped.
Yeah.
And just, it was me learning about who God was. And as I thought about my journey before my stroke, you know, God really did try to wake me up. He sent many messages. I just couldn't be bothered, just wasn't paying attention. And so he finally, and this is what I honestly feel, he finally said, look, I gotta get this girl's attention. So he gave me the stroke. But even with the stroke, my life is very, very good. I have blessings every single day. My life is actually, he saved my life by giving me that stroke.
Wow.
And that was all God, no one else.
So when you said that God was giving you messages and warnings, and then you said that you couldn't be bothered, like, tell us a little bit about what was going on and how those messages were coming, but how you were ignoring them.
Well, one, I had what they call a TIA, which is like a mini stroke. I had one of those, and I went to the ER, but nothing was wrong. I had like some little bit of spots on my left eye, but that went away, cleared up, and it was fine. So, you know, but that, to me now, I know is a sign. Look, slow down what you're doing. Pay attention. But kept going about my business and doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
Also, I was on the freeway, and I had just picked up, and I got into a fender bender.
Okay.
Our car. Thankfully, the girl in front of me, you know, she, of course, I'm going to stick to the story. She cut me off, but but I did rear end her. So the thing is, I had this stuff in the car. A police officer pulls me over. Why don't you just follow me? I'll escort you off the freeway. Okay. But hello, another sign. Look, lady, you better pay attention. You need to make some changes in your life.
Wow.
So I already did the first thing. This is the second time now. What else do I have to do? Had the stroke. That one got my attention.
Wow. Wow. So you feel like it was actually the God moment, or, you know, he had tried to get your attention a couple times.
With minor things.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you ignored it and kept your lifestyle
just
going.
kept going the wrong direction, and he just said, oh my gosh, I got to get this girl's attention. She's as stubborn as I made her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I really do think the stroke saved my life in so many ways. I was unhappy in a sense where I just never had a place to belong. I knew a lot of people and I had a lot of friends, but looking back and looking how our relationships were, it was just really a one-way friendship. Just what was I doing for them? But whenever I needed help, it was no, we're too busy, and I was only being reached out when they wanted me to do something.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's a whole other video.
So do you think, so I kind of want to ask you a little bit about that. When you felt like these relationships were one way and they didn't have depth, I guess, how did that, you know, perpetuate the lifestyle or the way that you were living with some of these relationships? Because you say you just didn't feel like you belonged.
A lot of it was just because we're all using and we're all drinking very heavily.
Okay.
And it was just, that was how we hung out. That was our fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, knowing now, if I knew now what I knew then, I could have maybe changed some of my actions.
Yeah.
And even looking back, even though I felt used, and I felt it's what I allowed as well, so it's not just their fault.
Right.
I have to own my part of it too.
True. Yeah.
So that's what God gave me, the understanding to create boundaries and set boundaries now.
Yeah.
I have a whole new set of friends, healthy and clean and sober, and it's just a completely different life. Even my life now, just learning more about myself and being able to say no and not feeling guilty for saying no, because I'm taking care of myself and I want to take care of myself.
Right.
Before I didn't really care. It's like, whatever, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, nothing's ever going to happen to me. Well, it already happened. What else can happen to me? Well, it's happened.
Yeah.
And, you know, God saved me, and he did this for a reason, so I don't want to disappoint him, and I don't want to disappoint myself, and I definitely don't want to disappoint my family. So I want to make it the best from here on moving forward.
Yeah. So when you had this stroke, I mean, obviously now you're looking back and saying that the stroke saved your life.
Yeah.
Was that the mentality that you had when you first had the stroke? Was it?
No.
Okay. Tell me about what you were thinking when this first happened.
The day before I had the stroke, I had a headache all day long.
Yeah.
Which I've since found out is the quintessential warning that go to the doctor, you're going to have a stroke.
Okay.
But I worked at a dental office. I told all the doctors, just take an aspirin.
Right.
I said, I took an aspirin. Nothing. All day long. So finally, by the end of the day, I said, I got to go home. I lay down, I slept. Also, you're not supposed to lay down or sleep.
Okay.
I did all the things you weren't supposed to do. Then I went out for a dinner party.
Okay.
But it was after I had that wine. Like I just, not even a whole glass. But I just sat on the couch watching TV. I didn't feel anything happen. There was no pain. So again, that's still God giving me grace and mercy. Just no pain. But, you know, getting my attention, hey, shaking me kind of on the shoulder. Wake up. Yeah. Pay attention to what I'm trying to tell you. But I just, it happened, got to the hospital, and even my sister, I don't ever want to have to tell Mom that you're in the hospital again. She said it was the most terrifying thing to have to do. I'm like, I can imagine. Yeah. You know, I mean, if the tables were turned.
Yeah.
So,
So after you had the stroke, tell me about where you were at. Just like, I mean, I know you said you were doing a lot of talking with people and laughing and trying to help to cope, but what was going on underneath? Like, how are you feeling about your situation? And
well, because I always was very self-conscious just about myself, my physical self.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm going to walk with a limp. Great. Now everyone's really going to pick at me and stare and point, because I've always been bullied and picked on as a young child for junior high and high school for being heavy. I've always been a big girl. And so I have grown up with really low self-esteem and really had a hard time accepting who I was. Yeah. So I did a lot of things just to try to fit in. Yeah. So this stroke, God gave me a lot of courage to figure out who I am and acknowledge kind of some of the things that I never even wanted to face because it was just too hard to, you know, looking inward. Yeah. But I really, I thank Him every day now. I feel so blessed and so lucky just to be alive. Yeah. And, you know that I have real friends and family around me now. It's amazing. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. But it just is really amazing the life that I have now. And it's all from God. Yeah. I know that. Yeah, as painful and as horrible that I scared people and everything during my illness or my stroke, my life is so good now. I mean, just so good.
That's amazing. So when you started to look at yourself, and you started to look at yourself inward, and you started to realize that, you know what, I struggled with fitting in and the way that people perceived me, and you started to look inward, like what changed? How did your perspective shift in that time?
Because I was more clear-minded. I wasn't under the influence of anything. I was able to really be honest with myself and just say, realizing it's not just what people are doing to me, it's what I'm allowing people to do to me. Okay. So like the boundary thing I was talking about. Yeah. I just thought maybe if I did everything good and made everyone happy, I'd make friends that way. Yeah. And this is really strange. I learned this in a rehab class. Someone asked the question about when you just pretend to do something just to make everyone else happy. Because I'm adopted, I came from an orphanage. I think when I was a baby, I always saw if you acted out poorly, or you cried, or you made noise, you would get in trouble. So just be good, just look good on the outside regardless of how you feel. Okay. So I think I adopted that from a young age. Yeah. Just, make everyone think you're okay. Yeah. And that's the way to do it. Yeah. So I've done that for a long, long time. Yeah. And nowadays I am okay. And if I'm not, I will let you know. But for the most part, I have nothing to be not okay about. I'm physically and mentally the strongest I've ever been in my entire life. And it's all from this stroke. Wow. All the strength and all the self-knowledge and self-awareness that I have now is from this stroke. It really made me look inward and realize that I am a good person. Yeah. Have I done bad things? Absolutely. But I'm not a bad person at all. Mm-hmm. But I also am not going to allow people to do things to me that are not what I want to happen. Or, just to let people use me and just call me for when it's convenient for them. If they can't be my friend in the bad times, they're definitely not going to be my friend during the good times. Mm-hmm. So that's something I need to set up.
Yeah. So when you went through the stroke, you began to look inward and start to have your perspective about yourself starting to change. And, it sounds to me like, as you had said, that God used this stroke to save your life. Mm-hmm. What were some of the things that you discovered in that time with God? What do you think that He may have said to you, or
I discovered that I'm worth loving. Mm-hmm. I never loved myself. I just never thought I was worthy. People just always picked on me, and I accepted that to be the truth. Yeah. But God loved me when I didn't love myself. And he says, you know what? Pay attention, lady. You're okay. I didn't save you for no reason. You have something to do. So I saved you. I want you to, I didn't do it for me. I did it for you. So you could have a good life. And I feel that. I really feel that. And I am having a very good life. And I've always had a good life. It was just my perception, or my perspective was I wasn't seeing the goodness for what it was. I was maybe chasing something, always thinking that was better, when I already was okay, when I already had everything I needed. So really just being appreciative and being thankful for what you have. And I do have a lot. I've got a great family. I've got great friends. I have a great church. I mean, I have you and Rochelle. It's amazing. There's just nothing better in my life right now than what I have.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So it sounds to me like you allowed other people to determine your value, and your value is very low.
Yes, right? Very.
And this stroke, the reason it saved your life is that you began to realize that it's not people that set your value, but it's God that determines your value.
Yes.
And that you were worth loving.
And yeah, I was worth loving. I never loved myself.
Wow.
But you know, if God loved me when I was at my lowest, I might be okay.
Yeah.
You know, I might be okay. There might be something worth in there saving.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I'm glad that I'm here.
Yeah.
I really am. I really, really.
You said something that you said that God said that I'm worth loving, and that also He saved you, and that He saved you for a purpose. Tell me a little bit more about that.
You know, I don't know what that is yet.
Yeah.
But right now, if that's what if He created me for a reason, and He created me to be here for a purpose, well, I want to be here for it.
Yeah.
And I want to find out what that is.
Yeah.
I'm willing to learn and to know, and I'm open to whatever it is He wants me to do.
Wow.
So,
how did you come to that realization that He?
Because I was given the second chance.
Okay.
And just even coming out of the stroke, because so many people that I've spoken to, oh yeah, my mom had a stroke, my sister had a stroke, she can't even talk, she can do nothing. Like, they can't even eat. They can't stand, they can't brush their teeth, I mean nothing.
Yeah.
Even though I was paralyzed for a short time, I'm still able to walk around. I can go out of the house myself. I can dress myself. I can bathe myself. The little tiny things that you take for granted are so important. God gave me those essential things that I can still do.
Right.
So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how you were in a place where you were just going.
Oh,
like you were just
1,000 miles a minute.
Yeah. I mean,
into a brick wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, the people in front of you on the freeway weren't going fast enough. You had to give them a bump.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No pun intended.
And now this stroke caused you to it stopped you.
Oh, yes.
But
that was God's way. He knew I was as stubborn as I was. I need to get this girl's attention, but big.
Yeah.
And He did. And as big as a stroke is, He still gave me so much to live with and for.
Yeah.
So that's how I know God is real. And that's how I know God's in my heart and in my life.
Yeah. And you began to see how many things were just that you did have.
I just wasn't appreciative.
Yeah.
I just thought, oh, I want this, I want that. I already had that and this. I had everything already. I just wasn't happy.
Yeah. And it sounds to me like you were trying to get more of these different things, whether it's relationships or drugs or whatever, trying to fulfill that void that was really It
was just me. It was here and here.
Yeah. And
it was already here.
The realization that you already
I possess all those things
to be loved by God.
Absolutely.
Right? And those who don't see that, well then, those are not the people that you have in your life.
That's right. Not anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And learning to say no is okay.
Yes.
Like, oh, I don't want to be me. If I'm not going to care for myself, who will? So I need to be the first person to care for myself.
Yeah. So tell us about what happened after you had the stroke and you went through that season, and you're learning to, walk again, and you're learning to, you're having to lean on your mom for help. And tell us about how that kind of began your journey, your new journey with God and your life to where it is now.
Just going to church, learning more about who God was and what He's done, and how much He helps, how selfless He is, and how much He just gives and gives and gives, and has no expectation back. He just wants you to follow and be as good, and follow Him, and just be a good person like He is, and so everyone can kind of catch on and see what you do, without having an expectation back. But you just do it because it's in your heart and it's good.
Yeah. So tell me about some of the recovery that you had gone through. What did that look like?
Recovery,
I'm talking about physical recovery. We could talk about other recovery after.
Physical recovery was important because I was always such a busybody, always on the move, go, and now I just couldn't do anything without anyone.
Yeah.
It was tough in the beginning, so learning how to walk again was a big deal. The one thing my physical therapist said to me while I was in the hospital, boy, you can't go home until you get up those stairs. Bet you believe that day he said that, I was up those stairs and into my room myself. He's like, did you just go upstairs to your room yourself? I'm like, yeah, because you said if I don't get up the stairs, if I can't do stairs, I don't go home. I'm going home. Yeah, and funniest thing, I just went to go visit those physical therapists. They're like, Sandra? I'm like, yeah. Like, no cane, no share? Nope. Like, that's great. They watched me walk up and down the hall just to see how my gait was. They said, you're doing really well. I said, but keep practicing. I'm like, absolutely. Yeah. And so we had a good laugh because this was a group of physical therapists that I had from start to beginning. Yeah. And I had them laughing a lot. And they were the ones who were like, oh, why are you so happy? What's my option? To cry? That's not going to help. Yeah. What's done is already done. That philosophy I've always had. What's already done, you can't change it. But also learning from you and from God's word, move forward. Yeah. Because I can't change what's already done, but I can set new goals and I can move forward every day. So I've adopted that and tried to do that. Yeah.
Talk to me about your addiction recovery.
My addiction recovery is interesting. I was never considered myself an alcoholic, but I started going to AA and just realizing some of the actions that drinking limits my willpower to say no to other things. So now I've curbed that. Eventually, it's interesting, this past Sunday you talked about being in denial. I still think in some aspects I'm a little bit in denial about me being an alcoholic. I definitely was a drug addict. But I would someday down the road like to be able to have a couple glasses of wine with dinner. But I don't want to go to a bar and just sit and drink like I used to. Not now, but maybe 5 or 6 years from now, we'll see how it is when I'm stronger, even stronger. If that's something I can do, maybe just one glass of wine if I go out to a nice dinner or a celebration, I would like to do that, but not now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the part about the denial keeps us from sometimes being really honest with where we're at, what we can handle, what.
Yeah, I really connected with that for sure.
Yeah. And so talk to me about some of the just spiritual health where maybe you were at in the season before, but how your spiritual health has been changing your life.
Well, now, before I don't really think I had a whole lot of spirituality. I mean, I always believed in a higher power, but I didn't know who God was, what He did. I never understood that Jesus died for our sins. So once I learned that, I'm like, okay. We must have died a couple times for mine. Excuse me. As I'm understanding more of the Word of God and what you talk about each Sunday, even the words in the songs mean something different. Yeah, I can feel the words, and I can understand more why we sing, why we praise Him, and why He's the King of all kings, and why we look at Him as such a heavenly as our Savior, because He really has given us so much, and there's no one else that can do that. No one else has that power and that authority to be so strong and to rule. Yeah. So I know for sure, for me, that's the 100% truth. Yeah. So for me, it's real. I'm not here to preach to anyone, but I know for myself that it's real and good. So I hope that everyone that I come in contact with will also see that relationship and see how wonderful and who God is. Yeah. Yeah. So they can have peace and love, like I found peace and love. Yeah. Within Him. Yeah. And myself.
I'm going to say this, that I know that because of your stroke, it how you walk has changed, right? And so maybe physically you may not be so stable.
That's for sure.
But I would say that as a person, spiritually, you are so much more stable. And from season to season, I see how much stronger you are and how much stronger you're becoming.
Thank you.
I just am curious if you've noticed. I'm getting more stable in myself and my spirituality.
Emotionally, definitely.
Yeah.
Spiritually, definitely.
Yeah.
We're connecting the dots to God and to Jesus. Yeah. A lot. a lot more.
Yeah, good.
And I love everything that I'm learning. Just, everything you talk about every Sunday, I'm like, yeah, I get that. I can really relate it to my life.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, another thing I think about it, God's word says we're the light of the world. It basically means that He's shining His light through us.
Yeah.
And, the more that I get to spend time with you, the light of God, the light of Christ is shining brighter in you that's touching people's lives around you.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about your story?
No, I think that's for now.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you very much, Pastor Noah.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Thank you.